How are you guys doing? Today is Friday, January 14th, 2022. I'm James Sims, and for this episode of The Elite, I'm going to review the Elite matchups and performances that took place yesterday on Thursday, January 13th. Taking a quick step back and looking at where we are in the calendar year, of course, starting with college sports, now that the college football season is over, the college basketball season is entering its conference schedules for every single team involved. Taking a look at what's going on with the pros, the NFL is about to enter its very first playoff games as the wild card starts tomorrow. And then the NBA is entering the second half of its season, not to mention that soccer is entering the second half of its season now that we're at the beginning of the 2022 calendar year. So with that said, I'm going to jump first into the top 25 teams from college basketball that played yesterday. Starting with the second-ranked basketball team in the nation, the Gonzaga Bulldogs hosted the unranked BYU Cougars. Gonzaga would beat BYU 110-84. They won this matchup by 26 after they outscored BYU by 12 in the first half and by 14 in the second. On the winning end of this matchup, the second-ranked Gonzaga Bulldogs were led in scoring by their starting forward, Drew Timme. He finished with 30 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists in 28 minutes. He shot 13 for 14 from the field and a perfect 4 for 4 from the foul line. Their starting guard, Andrew Nembhard, finished with 22 points, 12 assists, and 2 steals in 33 minutes. He shot 8 for 13 from the field, 4 for 6 from 3, and he made both of his 2 free throws on the night. And then their starting guard out of Las Vegas, Julian Strawther, would finish with 20 points in 24 minutes. He shot 7 for 10 from the field, 3 for 5 from 3, and 3 for 4 from the foul line. With this win, the second-ranked Gonzaga Bulldogs are 13-2. They are now 2-0 in the West Coast Conference. With this loss, unranked BYU is now 14-4 as they are now 2-1 in the conference. Looking at the third-ranked team in the nation, the UCLA Bruins hosted the unranked Oregon Ducks, and the unranked Oregon Ducks would upset the third-ranked Bruins 84-81 after outscoring UCLA 11-8 in overtime. Oregon also had to outscore UCLA by 5 in the second half to tie this game to go into overtime in the first place. On the losing end of this matchup, the third-ranked UCLA Bruins were led in scoring by their starting guard out of the San Fernando Valley, Jonathan Juzang. Johnny Juzang finished with 23 points, 9 rebounds in 38 minutes. He shot 8 for 16 from the field, 2 for 5 from 3, and 5 for 6 from the foul line. On the winning end of this matchup, the unranked Oregon Ducks were led in scoring by their starting guard, Jacob Young, out of Houston, Texas. Their senior guard finished with 23 points in 34 minutes. He shot 11 for 18 from the field and 1 for 2 from 3. With this win, the unranked Oregon Ducks are now 10-6. They are 3-2 in the Pac-12. With this loss, the third-ranked UCLA Bruins are 10-2. They are now 2-1 in the Pac-12. Taking a look at the other top 5 team from Los Angeles, the 5th-ranked USC Trojans hosted the unranked Oregon State Beavers. USC would beat Oregon State 81-71. USC won this matchup by 10 after outscoring the Beavers by 15 in the second half. On the winning end of this matchup, the 5th-ranked USC Trojans were led in scoring by their starting forward, Chavez Goodwin, out of Columbia, South Carolina. He finished with 20 points and 12 rebounds in 34 minutes. He shot 9 for 14 from the field. With this win, the 5th-ranked USC Trojans are now 14-1. They are now 4-1 in the Pac-12. With this loss, unranked Oregon State is now 3-12. They are now 1-4 in the Pac-12. Taking a look now at the 6th-ranked team in the nation, the Arizona Wildcats hosted the unranked Colorado Buffaloes. Arizona would beat Colorado 76-55. The 6th-ranked Wildcats would go on to outscore the unranked Buffaloes by 17 in the second half in order to win this game by 21. On the winning end of this matchup, the 6th-ranked Wildcats were led in scoring by their starting forward, as well as Tubelis out of Lithuania. He went on to finish with 14 points, 8 rebounds, 2 steals, and 2 blocks in 23 minutes. He shot 6 for 11 from the field and 1 for 2 from 3. And then Arizona's guard off the bench, Justin Kier out of Virginia, will go on to finish with 14 points in 15 minutes. He shot 5 for 9 from the field, 3 for 4 from 3, and he made his only free throw attempt of the night. With this win, the 6th-ranked Arizona Wildcats are now 13-1. They are 3-0 in the Pac-12. They are the last remaining undefeated team, at least in conference play. With this loss, the unranked Colorado Buffaloes are now 11-4, as they are 3-2 in the Pac-12. Taking a look at what went down with the 13th ranked team in the nation, the Wisconsin Badgers hosted the 16th ranked Ohio State Buckeyes in this top 25 matchup, the Badgers would beat the Buckeyes 78-68. They won this matchup by 10 after outscoring Ohio State by 13 in the first half. On the losing end of this matchup, the 16th ranked Buckeyes were led in scoring by their starting forward E.J. Liddell. Liddell finished with 18 points, 6 rebounds, and 2 blocks as he fouled out in 31 minutes. He shot 6 for 12 from the field, 2 for 3 from 3, and 4 for 5 from the foul line. On the winning end of this matchup, the 13th ranked Wisconsin Badgers were led in scoring by their starting guard, Brad Davison, out of Minnesota. He went on to finish with 25 points in 37 minutes. He shot 7 for 12 from the field, 4 for 6 from 3, and 7 for 8 from the foul line. Wisconsin starting forward Tyler Wall out of Minnesota will go on to finish with 20 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, and 3 steals in 33 minutes. He shot 8 for 10 from the field, 2 for 4 from 3, and 2 for 3 from the foul line. With this win, the 13th ranked Wisconsin Badgers are now 14-2. They are now 5-1 in the Big Ten. With this loss, the 16th ranked Ohio State Buckeyes are now 10-4. They are now 4-2 in the Big Ten. Taking a look at the 19th ranked team in the nation, the Texas Tech Red Raiders hosted the unranked Oklahoma State Cowboys. Texas Tech would beat Oklahoma State 78-57. They won this matchup by 21 after they outscored Oklahoma State by 15 in the first half and 6 in the second half. On the winning end of this matchup, the 19th ranked Red Raiders were led in scoring by their starting forward, Kevin O'Banner, out of Houston, Texas. He would go on to finish with 17 points along with 2 steals in 24 minutes. He shot 6 for 8 from the field and 3 for 5 from 3. With this win, the 19th ranked Texas Tech Red Raiders are now 13-3. They are now 3-1 in the Big 12, and with this loss, the unranked Oklahoma State Cowboys are now 8-7. They are now 1-3 in the Big 12 for right now. Last but not least, taking a look at the 20th ranked team in the nation, the Seton Hall Pirates went to face off against the unranked DePaul Blue Demons. The 20th ranked Pirates were upset as the DePaul Blue Demons would go on to win their first Big East game of the season. They beat Seton Hall by 4 after they outscored Seton Hall by 17 in the first half. On the losing end of this matchup, the 20th ranked Seton Hall Pirates were led in scoring by their starting guard, Jared Rhoden, out of New York. He went on to finish with 25 points and 7 rebounds in 36 minutes. He shot 10 for 22 from the field and a perfect 4 for 4 from the foul line. Their starting guard, Bryce Aiken, finished with 22 points in 28 minutes. He shot 5 for 15 from the field and 11 for 12 from the foul line. On the winning end of this matchup, the unranked DePaul Blue Demons were led in scoring by their starting guard, Jalen Terry, out of Flint, Michigan. He went on to finish with 28 points in 32 minutes. He shot 7 for 14 from the field, 3 for 7 from 3, and 11 for 13 from the foul line. DePaul's starting forward, David Jones, out of the Dominican Republic, would go on to finish with 24 points, 8 rebounds, 5 steals, and 2 blocks in 33 minutes. He shot 8 for 14 from the field, 2 for 5 from 3, and 6 for 7 from the foul line. With this win, unranked DePaul is 10-6 as they are now 1-5 in the Big East. With this loss, the 20th ranked Seton Hall Pirates are now 11-4. They are now 2-3 in the Big East. Taking a look at the college basketball games that are taking place today, at 6:30 on FS1, the 7th-ranked Purdue Boilermakers are going to host unranked Nebraska, as Nebraska still looks for their first Big Ten win. And at 9 o'clock, the 25th-ranked Illinois Fighting Illini are going to host unranked Michigan on FS1. Illinois is still undefeated in the Big Ten as of right now. Taking a look at what went down in the NBA, looking at yesterday's games, starting off in Milwaukee, the reigning champs and the last year's NBA champs, Milwaukee Bucks, hosted the Golden State Warriors. The Bucks would end up beating the Warriors 118-99. They won this matchup by 19 after they outscored the Warriors by 16 in the first quarter and by 23 in the second, combining for a 39-point deficit at halftime. On the losing end of this matchup, the Golden State Warriors were led in scoring by their starting small forward and former number 1 overall pick in the NBA draft, Andrew Wiggins. Wiggins finished with 16 points in 28 minutes. He shot 6 for 11 from the field, 2 for 5 from 3, and he made both of his free throws on the night. Their goated starting point guard, Stephen Curry, finished with 12 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 steals in 29 minutes. Curry shot 4 for 11 from the field, 2 for 6 from 3, and a perfect 2 for 2 from the foul line. On the winning end of this matchup, the defending champs, Milwaukee Bucks, were led in scoring by their elite starting power forward, the reigning NBA Finals MVP, Giannis Antetokounmpo. The Greek Freak finished with 30 points, 12 rebounds, 11 assists, 3 blocks, and 5 turnovers in 30 minutes. He shot 11 for 17 from the field and 8 for 12 from the foul line. Their starting small forward and former All-Star Chris Middleton finished with 23 points, 5 rebounds, and 7 assists in 30 minutes. He shot 7 for 13 from the field, 5 for 7 from 3, and a perfect 4 for 4 from the foul line. Their starting center, Bobby Portis, finished with 20 points and 7 rebounds in 25 minutes. He shot 8 for 16 from the field, and he shot 4 for 7 from 3. With this win, the Milwaukee Bucks are now 27-17. That is the 4th best record in the Eastern Conference. They've won 6 of their last 10 games, and they now trail the first seed Chicago Bulls by 2.5 games in the conference. With this loss, the Golden State Warriors are now 30-11. That is the 2nd best record in the Western Conference. They've lost their last 2 games, and the Warriors have lost 5 of their last 10. They now trail the first place Phoenix Suns out west by a game and a half. Taking a look now at what went down in Memphis, the surging hot Memphis Grizzlies hosted the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Grizzlies beat the Timberwolves 116-108. They won this matchup by 8 after outscoring the Timberwolves by 13 points in the third quarter alone to pick up their 11th win straight of the season. On the losing end of this matchup, the Minnesota Timberwolves were led in scoring by their elite starting small forward out of Georgia, Anthony Edwards. He finished with 30 points, 2 rebounds, and 4 assists in 38 minutes. He shot 9 for 20 from the field, 5 for 11 from 3, and a perfect 7 for 7 from the foul line. Their starting point guard out of Ohio State, D'Angelo Russell, finished with 29 points, 3 rebounds, and 6 assists as he fouled out in 35 minutes. He shot 11 for 19 from the field, 6 for 11 from 3, and he shot 1 for 2 from the foul line. Their elite starting center out of Kentucky, Karl Anthony Towns, finished with 25 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 blocks in 40 minutes. He shot 11 for 17 from the field, 2 for 6 from 3, and he made his only free throw attempt of the night. On the winning end of this matchup, the Memphis Grizzlies were led in scoring by their starting shooting guard, Desmond Bane. Bane finished with 21 points and 4 steals, as well as 5 turnovers in 32 minutes. He shot 5 for 12 from the field, and he would go on to shoot a perfect 9 for 9 from the foul line. Their starting power forward out of Michigan State, Jaren Jackson Jr., finished with 20 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 blocks in 33 minutes. He shot 6 for 10 from the field, 2 for 3 from 3, and alongside them, their elite starting point guard, Ja Morant out of Murray State, finished with 16 points, 8 rebounds, and 9 assists in 32 minutes. He shot 5 for 16 from the field and 6 for 7 from the foul line. With this win, the Memphis Grizzlies are now 30-14. That is their 11th straight win, and they are now holding the 3rd best record in the Western Conference. They currently sit 3 games behind the first seed Phoenix Suns at the moment. With this loss, the Minnesota Timberwolves are now 20-22. That is the 9th best record in the Western Conference. They've lost their last 2 games. They've lost 5 of their last 10. They now sit half a game behind the 8th seed Los Angeles Clippers out west. Taking a look now at what went down in New Orleans. Speaking of the Clippers, the Pelicans hosted the Clippers. The Pelicans would beat the Los Angeles Clippers 113-89. They won this matchup by 24 after they outscored the Clippers by 13 in the first quarter. By a combined 19 in the first half. And then on the losing end of this matchup, the LA Clippers would end up being led in scoring by their shooting guard off the bench, Terrence Mann. Mann finished with 15 points in 31 minutes. He shot 5 for 10 from the field, 1 for 1 from 3, and he shot 4 for 5 from the foul line. On the winning end of this matchup, the New Orleans Pelicans were led in scoring by their elite starting small forward out of Duke, Brandon Ingram. Ingram finished with 24 points, 5 rebounds, and 6 assists in 33 minutes. He shot 10 for 19 from the field, 1 for 4 from 3, and 3 for 4 from the foul line. With this win, the New Orleans Pelicans are now 16-26. That is the 4th worst record in the Western Conference. They've won their last 2 games, and they've won 5 of their last 10. They currently sit 4.5 games behind the 8th seed LA Clippers out west. With this loss, the LA Clippers are now 21-22. That is the 8th seed in the Western Conference, as they're barely holding on to that playoff spot. They have lost 6 of their last 10 games. They are currently sitting 11.5 games behind the first seed Phoenix Suns as we are entering the second half of the NBA schedule, as they sit half a game ahead of the 9th seed Minnesota Timberwolves just inside that playoff picture. Taking a look now at what went down in Brooklyn, the Nets hosted the Oklahoma City Thunder, and when when KD faced off against his former team, the Thunder would end up beating the Nets by 21. The Thunder won this matchup 130 to 109. They won this matchup by 21 after they outscored the Brooklyn Nets by 19 in the first half. On the losing end of this matchup, the Nets were led in scoring by their elite starting shooting guard, former NBA MVP James Harden. Harden finished with 26 points, 7 rebounds, 9 assists, 3 steals, and 3 blocks in 36 minutes. He shot 7 for 22 from the field, 3 for 11 from 3, and a perfect 9 for 9 from the foul line. Off the bench for the Nets, their shooting guard Cam Thomas out of LSU will go on to finish with 21 points in 33 minutes. He shot 8 for 18 from the field, and he would go on to shoot 4 for 6 from the foul line. On the winning end of this matchup, the Oklahoma City Thunder were led in scoring by their starting guard out of Kentucky, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Gilgeous-Alexander finished with 33 points, 10 rebounds, 9 assists, 2 blocks, and 5 turnovers in 35 minutes. He shot 11 for 18 from the field, 2 for 5 from 3, and 9 for 10 from the foul line. Their starting small forward, Luguentz Dort, finished with 27 points in 33 minutes. He shot 9 for 17 from the field, 6 for 10 from 3, and 3 for 4 from the foul line. With this win, the Oklahoma City Thunder are now 14-27. That is the second worst record in the Western Conference. They've won 3 of their last 10 games, and they currently sit 6 games behind the 8-seed LA Clippers out west. With this loss, the Brooklyn Nets are now 26-15. That is the third best, or they are tied with the Miami Heat for the second best record in the Eastern Conference. The Nets have lost 6 of their last 10 games as they and the Heat both trail the Bulls, who lead the East by 2 games for that top seed. Last but not least, jumping out to Denver, the Nuggets hosted the Portland Trailblazers. In this matchup, the Denver Nuggets would beat the Trailblazers 140 to 108. The Nuggets won this matchup by 38 points after they outscored the Trailblazers by 17 in the first half. They would also go on to outscore the Trailblazers by 15 in the second half. On the losing end of this matchup, the Portland Trailblazers were led in scoring by their starting shooting guard out of Kansas, Ben McLemore. McLemore finished with 18 points and 2 steals in 29 minutes. He shot 6 for 14 from the field, 4 for 9 from 3, and 2 for 3 from the foul line. On the winning end of this matchup, the Denver Nuggets were led in scoring by their starting small forward, Will Barton. Barton finished with 21 points in 25 minutes. He shot 7 for 12 from the field, 4 for 6 from 3, and 3 for 6 from the foul line. Their elite starting center and last year's regular season MVP, Nikola Jokic, finished with 20 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists, and 2 blocks in 28 minutes. He shot 8 for 10 from the field, 1 for 2 from 3, and a perfect 3 for 3 from the foul line. With this win, the Denver Nuggets are now 21-19. That is the 6th best record in the Western Conference. They've won 6 of their last 10. They now trail the Phoenix Suns by 10 games in the Western Conference. With this loss, the Portland Trailblazers are now 16-25. That is the 10th best record in the Western Conference. They've lost 7 of their last 10 games, and they trail the 8-seed LA Clippers out west by 4 games for that playoff seed. So that is what the NBA is looking like following yesterday's games. Taking a look at what's going on today, of course, starting with the primetime matchups. It looks as though at 10 o'clock, at 7:30, the Chicago Bulls, who currently have the best record in the Eastern Conference, are going to host the Golden State Warriors. They have the second best record in the West, and the Warriors are currently on a 2-game losing streak, so they're looking to snap that, as the Bulls have just ended their winning streak not that long ago. Still 2 incredibly hot teams. And then right after that at 10 o'clock on ESPN, the Memphis Grizzlies, who are currently holding an 11-game winning streak and the 3rd best record in the West, are set to host the Dallas Mavericks, who are currently holding the 5th best record in the West, as the Mavericks look to be the team to stop the Grizzlies in their tracks. Looking at the games that won't be on primetime, at 7 o'clock, the Charlotte Hornets are going to host the Orlando Magic at the Spectrum Center. At the same time, the Detroit Pistons are going to host the Toronto Raptors at the Little Caesars Arena. At the same time, at 7, the Indiana Pacers are going to host the Phoenix Suns at the Gainbridge Fieldhouse. At the same time, at 7, the 76ers are going to host the Boston Celtics at the Wells Fargo Center. At 8 o'clock, the Miami Heat are going to host the Atlanta Hawks at the FTX Arena. At 8:30, the San Antonio Spurs are going to host the Cleveland Cavaliers at the AT&T Center. Now, last but not least, at 10 o'clock, the Sacramento Kings are going to host the Houston Rockets at the Golden One Center. Now, last but not least, taking a look at what's going on in the world of soccer. Starting with the Africa Cup of Nations, Cameroon was able to beat Ethiopia 4-1, as it would have two braces from Carl Toko Ekambi and Vincent Abubakar. So those are the two players that got braces. And then Burkina Faso was able to beat the Cape Verde Islands 1-0, as Bande was able to score there. Cameroon became the very first team in the African Cup of Nations to qualify for the round of 16, of course, after their 2 wins. And then taking a look at the other matchups that took place yesterday. Looking now at the Italian Cup, Napoli faced Fiorentina, and in this round of 16 matchup, Fiorentina would win it 5-2, as they would end up scoring 3 goals in extra time to end up winning this matchup, advancing to the next round. The other match that took place yesterday in the Coppa Italia was AC Milan and Genoa. Milan would end up beating Genoa 3-1, as 2 of their goals came in extra time. Genoa scored the first goal of the matchup. Olivier Giroud would score in the 74th minute to tie it up. And then Rafael Leao and Alexis Saelmakers in extra time would be what AC Milan needed so they could advance to the quarterfinals. Looking at what's going on in the English Carabao Cup in the first leg, the semifinal between Liverpool and Arsenal, this game would end up in a draw. The winner of the second leg will face off against Chelsea in the final. And then looking at the Spanish Supercopa, in this matchup, Athletic Bilbao was able to beat Atletico Madrid 2-1. Atletico Madrid scored the first goal off of an own goal from Athletic Bilbao. In the 77th minute, their equalizer would come from Yare, and then they would end up taking the lead in the 81st minute from Nico Williams to put them into the final, where they will face off against Real Madrid, who just came off of their Spanish Supercopa semifinal win against Barcelona. So those are the matchups from yesterday. Taking a look at what's going on today, of course, starting with the African Cup of Nations. Senegal is going to face off against Guinea, Malawi versus Zimbabwe, Morocco versus the Comoros Islands, and Gabon versus Ghana. Of course, as we get into the round of 16, I will get into how each round breaks down. Taking a look outside of that, in the German Bundesliga, Borussia Dortmund is going to host SC Freiburg. Dortmund currently holds the second best record in the Bundesliga. They are 6 points behind Bayern, so a win would do a lot for them there. Freiburg holds the 4th best record in Bundesliga, so they're going to be a very tough opponent to just take 3 points from. But that's everything that I have for you regarding today's matchups. And with that said, I want to thank the ESPN, the NCAA, NFL, NBA, and FIFA websites for giving me all the facts and the figures that I needed to do this episode. And of course, I want to thank everybody for listening. I do apologize for all the names that I butchered, because I do eventually plan on getting them right. And with that said, once all of today's exhibitions and matchups are done, I'm going to come back tomorrow on Saturday, January 15th for another episode, just to go over everything that went down today. So with that said, I want to thank everyone once again for sticking with me through this incredible show as we navigate through the world of sports one day at a time. I want to thank you once again for listening to my piece. I hope all is well, and I'll catch you with another piece tomorrow. Peace out.